Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Know Your Purpose workshop. My name is Leah Hoffman, and I am the Wellness Coordinator here at Edgewater, a Wesley Life community. For today's workshop, you will need the workbook that can be provided to you from Abby Harlacher, Director of Campus Wellbeing, or you can stop and see one of our team members at the concierge, and they can provide you with the workbook as well. Once you have your workbook in hand, all you need is yourself and a writing utensil. This workshop can be interactive, so if you would like to invite over fellow neighbors or family members to join you so there's a bit of conversation as we go through the workshop, you're more than welcome to. For today's presentation, I will be providing you with a PowerPoint that we will go through and walk along together. Most of you are familiar with my role as it relates to your physical wellness. Possibly you have attended a group exercise class, asked for me to check your blood pressure, or even attended your fitness assessments with me. But wellness is actually a much broader term that goes beyond diet and exercise. It encompasses your spiritual, emotional, social, environmental, and intellectual health as well. At Wesley Life in particular, we focus on the core 4 health habits derived from the Blue Zones research: moving naturally, being connected to others, eating wisely, and adopting the right outlook. Today, we're going to zoom in on that last point and talk a little bit about what it means to live a purposeful life. Today, I will give you some tools and tips that will help you to lay the groundwork for approaching the activities of your day-to-day life with a little more intention and awareness. Let's start with a preview of what we are going to work through today. First, we are going to define purpose and talk a little bit about why it matters. Then I will give you some time to think about your values and write a personal mission statement. Finally, you can set a goal or make a resolution, and I'll share some tips for making your healthy actions as a habit rather than a chore. Anytime you see the pencil on one of the slides, it means there is a corresponding spot for you to fill out on the worksheet that you have in front of you. Also, keep in mind, this workshop is designated as such, not a lecture. I want to maintain a casual atmosphere that you can feel in your own homes. I will allow for small breaks so that you can allow for reflection or maybe even conversation with those around you. I want to acknowledge right off the gate that the question, does my life have meaning and purpose, is a really big picture question. And it does require self-reflection, deep thought, and often time to process. Although we have just a bit of time together today, I want you to keep in mind that the ultimate goal is not for you to complete your workbook completely or perfectly, or even come up with the right answer. It's really about you creating a space for you to take some time and think about what really matters to you, and then identify ways you can demonstrate those values in a concrete way. So what do we mean by purpose? Purpose is defined as the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. As in, the purpose of this workshop is to help you live a more meaningful life. If you do something on purpose, you do it intentionally, not by accident. Mattering to others is recognized as a fundamental need that all individuals have to feel significant and important to others in their lives. People who have a strong sense of purpose can easily answer questions like, who am I? Where do I belong? And when do I feel fulfilled? Maybe take the next couple of moments to share or think of someone that might come to your mind. Maybe it's a celebrity or a family member or acquaintance that really is a shining example of purposeful living. So now that we know what purpose is, and maybe you've been able to think of someone who shows these qualities, but who really cares? Why does it matter? I occasionally hear residents respond to a new idea, social invitation, or learning opportunity with some variation of, I'm too old for this. Those days are behind me. I've done my time. Haven't I earned the right to kick back and enjoy my time with the rest of the days in front of me pass by in peace? While aimlessly in and of itself might not seem harmful, your body and brain have a property known as plasticity, which is to say that they adapt, change, and grow in response to the inputs you provide. You read a book on an interesting topic, your neurons are related to learning, memory, and sensory perception. If you go for a swim, you lubricate your joints, build strength, and improve your range of motion. When you don't participate in life, it doesn't mean you just sit in neutral and maintain whatever your current level of function is. Your body is still sending messages, only those messages are that those neural pathways, bones, and muscles just aren't needed anymore. You start to deteriorate. It becomes harder to remember things, to do things that you used to be able to do. And I'm sure if you've heard me say before, use it or lose it. This is reflected in the results of our annual HRA. Each year, we conduct a survey of our residents to assess how healthy and well they are and try to identify areas which we can focus on our wellness programming. On the left listed is the top 5 most common health problems faced by Edgewater residents: functionality and movement, high stress, pain and pain management, frailty, and medication compliance. Notice that these are labeled as modifiable. That means that these are things that we have control over and we can do something about them, unlike, for example, your scoliosis or your bad hip. Now, compare this list to the one on the right, which came from a research study over 8,000 50-plus adults. It shows that there are some major benefits to feeling like you matter to others and have a strong sense of life purpose. When your day-to-day is filled with worthwhile activities, you're more likely to have better relationships and an active social calendar, better health, less pain and disability, more money, and less time spent in front of the TV. In fact, independent of factors like age, sex, race, education level, and socioeconomic status, mattering and purpose in life accounted for a whopping 78% of the wellness variance. In another study, people without a strong sense of life purpose were more than twice as likely to die. The researchers found the association to be so powerful that having a strong sense of purpose decreased the risk of death more than drinking, smoking, or exercising regularly. Moreover, the survey didn't ask participants to define how they found meaning in life. What matters is not exactly what your purpose, but simply that you have one. So, what is the most effective thing I, as your wellness coordinator, can do to help with some of these risk factors on the left? Well, I could go down this list one by one and try to help you develop programs to help you get you stronger or de-stress, etc. Or I could simply help you reflect on what matters in your life and help you find ways to get more of that into your daily life so that you can experience some of these benefits on the right. And that is exactly what we are going to do today. This next slide here shows that we have values. And today I'd like for you to think about what your values are. Go ahead and take the time to review your list of values that is provided to you in your packet. Circle or underline those values that you identify with and add in that there are maybe any that are missing. Take the next couple of moments to reflect and think about your values. You can also discuss with anyone that's with you in the room. After you think and take the next moments to circle or underline, choose 3 to 5 values that you deem the most important and write them on your circle diagram on your workbook. Actions speak louder than words, but not nearly as often. A quote provided by Mark Twain. Now, let's think about translating your values into actions. Next to each value, write some things you do or could do to demonstrate your values. If you have a lot of values written down, pick the 2 or 3 that are most impactful on your life right now. For example, if faith is one of your values, ways that you could demonstrate them is by attending a worship service, reading scripture, praying, or meditating. Now that we've spent some time thinking about our values and how we express them to the world, I really want to drill down and focus those ideals into 1 or 2 sentences. In business, the vision, mission, and value statements guide the behaviors of the people in the organization and are critical to making sure that the company stays on track towards meeting its goals. For individuals, a mission statement is a simple summary that explains what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. A mission statement can act as a North Star, a guidepost that you can hold up your actions to and see if they are in line with your values. Here are some examples of individual mission statements, at least one of which is probably very familiar to you. The first one reads, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways that you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. That is by John Wesley. My mission in life is to not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. The next one reads, to be a teacher and to be known for inspiring my students to be more than they thought they could be. Oprah Winfrey. And lastly, here is an example that reads, it is my mission to live a life of honesty, integrity, and unconditional love, to never lose sight of what is important, and to make the world a more beautiful place through art and my relationship with others. Now, I'd like to give you a bit of time here to draft out your own mission statement. State what you do, why you do it, and how you do it. What do you want to achieve, do, or become? Incorporate your values that we just went through several slides back and ask, why is it important to you? Lastly, don't leave out the how. What behaviors or actions will you use? What are your special gifts, strengths, and talents? I've included some fill-in-the-blank examples here that you can use as a springboard to jumpstart your own ideas. A couple tips before you get started, or if you're not already started, don't overthink it. You saw those examples and they're not complicated. Just brief, straightforward statements. Use positive language rather than to talk about what you will avoid or what you will not be or do. Finally, stick to the present tense. A mission statement you draft today should be forward-looking. Talk about what you will do, not what you've already done. As you take these next couple of moments to focus on writing your mission statement, if there's anyone that feels inclined to share their mission statement, you can do so by bringing it to the wellness team and sharing it with us, as we would love to hear what you came up with. So as you can see on the PowerPoint, here are some of the examples for filling in the blank. To achieve, do, or become blank, which is important because blank, I will take action X, Y, or Z. I value blank because blank, and accordingly, I will blank. I will use my gift of blank to achieve blank. So those are some couple options that you can use as guideposts if you're still really struggling with how to format your mission statement. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to other people or objects. Let's resolve to take action. So you've thought of some great mission statements, and perhaps you're even feeling a little bit inspired. But as you know, when you walk out the door and back into the busy routine of day-to-day life, it is very easy for these kind of higher-minded aspirations to get lost in the shuffle, in the day-to-day life. So how do you make it happen? The answer is very simple. It's by goal setting. I want to share a couple of statistics with you from the Harvard Business Study. As you can see here, individuals who did not resolve to take action, from this study, we can see here that there are 83% of people who did not have a goal, 14% had a plan in mind, and 3% of people have their goals written down. The 14% of people who have goals are 10 times more successful than those without goals. The 3% of people with written goals are 3 times more successful than the 14% with unwritten goals. So as you can see, simply take the time to write down your goals is a powerful act. In doing so, you make those pie in the sky ideas more concrete and tangible. Now we will talk a little bit about goal setting. So here on the left, we have our SMART goals visual. S stands for specific, state exactly what you want to accomplish. M stands for measurable, use smaller mini goals to measure your progress. A stands for achievable, make your goals reasonable. R is for realistic, set a goal that is very relevant to your life. T is for timely, give yourself time, but set a deadline. For an example, on the right-hand side, we have different variations of goal setting. I will call an old friend once a month. It is specific, it is measurable, it is achievable, it is realistic, and there is a deadline. I will paint once a week, and once my work is complete, I will give it to a friend or family member. I will read 52 books by the end of the year. I will spend 5 minutes each day praying for someone that I love. I will attend an activity I've never been to before by the end of the month. So as you can see, there's different aspects within each of these goals that relate to SMART goals. For example, I will read 52 books by the end of the year is specific because it lists how many books. It is measurable because it's giving you a time, which leads us into being timely. It's giving you a deadline. It's realistic for that individual, and it's achievable, assuming that this individual enjoys reading and has been reading for quite some time, or even would like to take up the hobby of reading. It is an achievable goal. I'd like to finish up today's workshop by talking a little bit about habits and how they shape our lives in invisible ways. It is estimated that up to 90% of the things that you do each day are based on habit alone. You don't have to set goals to remember to brush your teeth or eat your afternoon snacks every day. You just do it. And the good news is that once established, good habits are just as hard to break up as bad habits. We can take some of these goals we've set for ourselves today and bump them from intentional action to habit by taking advantage of the habit loop. This information comes from Charles Dugg's book, The Power of Habit, which I highly recommend. The habit loop consists of cue, routine, and reward. First, there is a cue. This is a trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use. Cues can almost be anything, from a visual trigger to a time of day, an emotion, a sequence of thoughts, company of particular people, and etc. Next, there is the routine. This can be physical, mental, or emotional. Routines can be incredibly complex or fantastically simple. Finally, there is the reward. This helps your brain to figure out this part of the particular loop is worth remembering for the future. Rewards can range from food that cause physical sensations to emotional payoffs, such as feelings of pride that accompany praise or self-congratulation. After several repetitions of this habit loop, you will develop a craving for the reward. The way you turn your intentional actions into habits is by framing the habit or the routine with a cue and a reward. Do it enough times and you will actually begin to crave that routine. For example, let's say you want to get into the routine of running. Your cue might be your alarm clock, which you set to go off early twice a week, playing Born to Run. And every time you hear the song Born to Run, you drag yourself out of bed, put on your shoes, and go for a run. After your run, you're in a really great mood and you feel strong and energetic, and you make yourself a post-run smoothie. And you do this twice a week for a couple of months. After a while, when you hear that alarm go off and your song starts playing, you're not going to be thinking about how tired you are, or if you should hit the snooze button, or how you're feeling a little achy. You are going to be tying your shoelaces while you think about what kind of smoothie you're going to make. Let's say you have an early meeting one day, so you have to skip your run. There's a good chance you find yourself in that meeting feeling just a little off, like you're out of your element. Now, let's take a few minutes to frame that goal you set for yourself with a cue and a reward. Cues generally fall into these categories: a location, a time, an emotional state, other people, or a thing that immediately precedes the action. Rewards can be whatever you want, but do try to choose something that will help you further your goals for healthy living. Rewarding yourself for something healthy, like exercising, with something unhealthy, like French fries, is counterproductive. So that's it. That wraps up our Know Your Purpose workshop. I look forward to hearing from you all how it impacted you and allowed you to take a step back and have a general framework for what the purpose is in your life. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you all have a lovely day.